Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the most commonly used design pattern in .NET development, the repository pattern. If you are just starting out with .NET or Entity Framework, this tutorial is going to be perfect for you because we shall build everything from scratch step by step. Before jumping into code, let's understand the concept first. What is repository pattern? By definition, repository pattern is a design pattern that provides a clean abstraction for data access, allowing the application to work with a simple, consistent interface. Right. While the actual data access logic like EF Core, ADO.NET, or any ORM is kept separate. What does it mean? It means we don't directly write database code in our business logic. Let's understand it a bit more. Actually, a repository pattern acts as a middle layer between your business logic and the database. So this way, we don't directly write database code in business logic. It hides all the complex database queries and exposes simple methods like get all, get by ID, add, update, and delete. And it exposes all these methods through a common interface and keep all the actual data access logic separate in one place. This makes our code more clean, maintainable, loosely coupled, and testable. It also supports dependency injection. So instead of calling DB context directly from your controller like this, you call a repository and the repository takes care of the database part. Right? Let's understand it with the help of an example. Open Visual Studio 2022, click on Create New Project, select ASP.NET Core Web API, click on Next, give project name like repository pattern demo, change the project location, click on X, uncheck configure for HTTPS, enable open API support, use controller, okay, click on create, okay, it has created our demo project. Let's add a simple model to work with. In the Solution Explorer, right click on the project, add new folder, rename it models. Right click on this folder and add class, name it product.cs. This will be a simple model with ID, name, and price. Next, we need a DB context to interact with the database. Right click on your project, add new folder, name it like data. Inside it, add a class called app-db-context. Okay, now let's set up Entity Framework Core so we can use DB context in our project. Go to NuGet Package Manager and find Microsoft.Entity Framework Core. Select it, select your project, click on Install. Click on Apply. I accept. Similarly, you can install Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server and Microsoft Entity Framework Core tools. Okay, now we go to AppDB context and inherit it from DB context. And inside it code like this. This DB set property tells Entity Framework that we have a products table. Now we open app setting.json and add a connection string. Now we open program.cs and add code like this. Builder.services.add DB context options use SQL Server, and inside it we pass our connection string. Now we are telling our app to use SQL Server with our connection string. Okay, now let's create the repository layer. Go to your project, add a folder called repositories. Inside it, add an interface like iProduct repository. Click on it. Inside this interface, we shall define some methods. This interface doesn't contain the actual code logic, right? Later, our class product repository will implement this interface and write the actual database logic. So we define few methods. These methods represent the basic code operations, and the save method is there to commit those changes to the database. So this defines what operations our repository will support. Now let's implement this interface. Create on repositories, add new class, and name it product repository. Click on add. This repository will implement that iProduct repository interface. By writing this, we are saying this class agree to provide the actual implementation of all the methods defined in our interface. So we need to inject our DB context here because this repository is responsible for talking to the database. Now we provide the implementation of all the methods in this interface. Now all database logic is nicely isolated here, right? Okay, now we go to program.cs to register this repository. and add code like builder.services.add scope I product repository, product repository. Now we are telling .NET dependency injection container how to create and provide our repository. Whenever our application needs an object of type iProduct repository, .NET will automatically create and inject an instance of product repository for us. We don't have to write new product repository manually anywhere. This is where we call inversion of control. Instead of controlling the creation of object, the framework does it for us. So this is very important dependency injection concept in .NET. Okay, now let's use our repository in a controller. Go to your project, right click on controller folder, add controller, API controller empty, click on add. We name is product controller. Click on add. Okay, now let's inject our iProduct repository. Because we already registered this repository in program.cs, .NET will automatically give us an instance of product repository whenever this controller is created. Now we add few simple endpoints in our controller for making HTTP calls from the front end. And each of these endpoints will just call the respective method from our repository. We added few endpoints like get all, fetches all products, get by IDs, get a single product by ID, add will create a new product, update existing product, and delete will remove a product. Okay, now we have set up our model, DB context, and repository. So it's time to create the database and table. So we shall use Entity Framework Core migration for this. So go to Open Manager Console and run the command like add migration initial create. This will create the first migration file that contains the instruction to create the database schema. Next, we run update database. We open SQL Server Management Studio and verify database is created. Okay, database created, but we mistakenly provided server name here. So let me change the database again. I change DT name here. Go to Package Manager Console again and add migration initial create to and run the command update database. Go back to SQL Server Management Studio, refresh databases, and we see repository DemoDB is created and product table is also created. All right, now that our database and table are ready, let's test our API endpoint using Postman and see how our repository performs CRUD operation on the database. I run my project, open Postman. Okay, first we call our product API to get all the product. Click on send. Okay, it has hit get all product API. Click on continue. So we don't have any product at the moment. So let's add it. So we call add endpoint passing some payload. Click on send. Okay, it has hit add API and then it will internally call repository add method and save our product in the database. Okay, it has saved product. So let's verify from the database. Okay, our new product is added. Similarly, add another product like gaming laptop. Click on send, click on continue and verify from the database. So it has added two products. Call get product API and we got all the products. Similarly, you can test your remaining HTTP endpoints and each of these will internally call the respective repository method. So that's how you implement the repository pattern in .NET from scratch. It keeps your controllers clean, separates data access logic, and makes your code more maintainable, right? In real-world apps, developers often combine repository pattern with unit of work pattern for better transaction control. We shall cover that in some next video. If this tutorial helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.